Welcome to another episode of Kncci ICT Diary. My name is Sakina Asman. Today we are going to cover on Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and I'm joined by Caroline Kosiom, the Head of Trade Research and Policy at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Welcome, Kosiom. How are you doing?
Well, thank you very much, and I'm doing great.
Thank you. On our episode today, we are going to talk about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And from your experience as a trade expert, what is Africa Continental Free Trade Area? What does it mean to the African countries, especially Kenya, and how is it going to help our businesses?
Well, what it means is, as it sounds, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area implies that there is going to be free trade between the African countries that have signed the agreement. So what does that mean is that previously, when you are selling goods to another country, if you are selling an item at 10 shillings, you will be charged an extra 25% for import duty. But what it means when it's a free continental area, it implies that for your goods you can sell in a foreign country without being subjected to import duty. At an advanced stage of free trade, it implies harmonization of issues to do with investments and also institutions, and as well as monetary union and also free movement of people and capital. But the simplest way to start to understand is that you can easily sell your goods across the border without having any issues or having to look like you're trading in a foreign country. It will be as if you're trading in your own country.
All right. Does this mean that because now Africans, they are trading within themselves, does it mean that now we are going to have a one or a common currency?
It does mean that, but it doesn't necessarily necessitate that. Mm-hmm. Remember, now we have technology. So meaning with technology, we might need to retain our own currencies, but there will still be ease of payment across borders, irrespective of whether each countries have different currencies. But remember, one of the key indicators for success for free trade is ease of payment. So the fact that if there are ease of payment systems within the countries, then a monetary union will probably be answered due to technological advancement. Yeah.
All right. On that note, I understand that there is what we call the Pan-African Payment Settlement System that was launched in January that is going to help in the ease of payment of goods and services while doing transactions. How is this going to help?
Well, it actually would answer to the challenge of having different currencies of different values across the different countries. If, for example, I'm to pay for bananas from Uganda, I can pay using Kenya shillings, and when it easily translates to do the app, and the other person on the other end receives in Uganda shillings. So it implies that people can pay for services and goods in their own currencies, and the app helps them just to know how much they need to pay using their currency and how to pay for it. It simplifies the process because it eliminates the need for Forex, and also it eliminates the need for a single currency, and also it helps people to easily translate and know how much they need to pay for a good in terms of their own local currency. So it's actually, that's why I said, if we were talking about free trade area probably 20, 30 years ago, we would need for a single currency. But as I said, with technology, it is possible to transact within your own currencies with ease of payment due to the ease of translation. So the system is just, you pay with your currency, it translates into the other currency, then the person in the other end receives payment. And of course, there's a transaction fee using apps, but they are quite affordable. And we look forward to having more business people use the system so that they can be able to trade.
All right. And on another note, there is this that it's a big question in the room, and that is the rules of origin. And it's important for even the buyers, the retailers, and anything that is doing transaction within the African market. They need to have their goods to be needed to have that, the rules of origin, know where the goods are coming from. So how is it, how far is the rules of origin when it comes to now the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area?
Well, there are many things that we need that are currently being discussed. One of them is the rules of origin. First, before we discuss the stage at the stage at which we are now, it's important to understand that for you to trade freely, for you to be able to sell your goods in your ACFTA territory without attracting import duty, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the goods are coming from the Kenya, for example, or a country within the territory, implying you cannot import goods from another continent into Kenya and expect them to trade at zero duty. That would be because rules of origin implies that, for example, the rules of origin for Kenya, EAC region is 30%. That means if you are making, for example, a car, the car has to meet the 30% of the value of the car has to be locally made, locally sourced. And that means that if the value of the car is more than 70% of imported value, then the goods automatically attract what is called common external tariff, which at this rate now is 25%. So you will not benefit from the favorable trade regimes of within the Africa Continental Free Trade Area if you are importing fully importing goods. Therefore, it's very important for traders to know that they cannot now rush to China and import goods to Uganda or to South Africa, for example, thinking that now you will access it without paying duty. No, that the goods fully imported, finished goods imported do not meet the criteria for rules of origin. For example, Kenyan tea, for example, if you look at Kenyan tea, it's 100% Kenyan. And therefore, you can sell even in West Africa duty-free without attracting duty. Mm-hmm. Now, you look at something like motorbikes, for example. Motorbikes are assembled here, but you have to check what value of the motorbikes is made here. If the motorbikes is imported and it's more than 70% value, then you cannot sell. The more than 70% of the value of the motorbike is imported, then you cannot sell duty-free. So it's very much important that we understand rules of origin if we need to trade within the region. And then also, the rules of origin is favorable. It should not be viewed as not being favorable because it implies that we will be forced now to source our goods locally, develop our own industries if we had to benefit from free trade area. It therefore implies that the goods that we export, cooking oil, household goods, cooking fat, detergents that we usually import, mm-hmm. they have to meet the rules of origin criterion, meaning you cannot import all raw materials and then just assemble here and then thinking you can sell. You have to prove that some of the raw materials have been sourced locally and it meets the 30% value of that good. And so currently the discussions for rules of origin are going on within the ACFTA countries, and some countries are having concessions on how much percentage they would give, particularly for, now we are discussing on exemption, special goods, particularly some sensitive items such as wheat, such as sugar, and other items that are sensitive to particular countries are under discussion. But the rules of origin would still be 30% for trading within the ACFTA region, unless for special considerations, which now the discussions on special consideration for special goods is ongoing.
All right, thank you, Kosiom. Very good insights there. We are going to be on a short break, and when we come back, you're going to tell us about how are the diasporas when you are producing goods in, let's say, the USA, or you are in Ghana, but you are a Kenyan. How does the rules of origin apply? So in a short break, we are going to meet Kosiom, and we'll be right back. welcome back. And we left at where Kosyom was enlightening us about what we call the rules of origin. Kosyom, my question would be, as we left before the break, when let's say I'm manufacturing my goods in the US, but I am a diasporan living in the USA, but I want to start coming back home and import the goods that I'm manufacturing in the USA, but I want them now, I want to come back to Kenya and now start exporting from my home country. How does this affect me when it comes to the rules of origin?
Well, unfortunately, when you manufacture in a foreign country, it doesn't really matter if you're a citizen of the ACFTA countries. Your goods would have still be manufactured in a foreign country, meaning it created employment in that region, and therefore means also it created markets for raw materials in that region. And you have being, what you should be looking at is maybe probably issues to do with taxation, especially for interest income, but it's not necessarily on the goods. If the goods, if you ship them to any African country from a non-member country, irrespective of if you're a citizen of that country, as long as your goods have been manufactured in a foreign country, the goods will still be subject to the common external tariff, unless, of course, they meet the special status of goods that have been given a special exemption for countries. So remember, countries are currently issuing goods that they would like to give an exemption or to be protected from for a particular period of time. As long as it's not within that list of goods, you have to pay common external tariff. Remember, again, now the taxation issues. What you need to look into is probably when you make your profits in the USA and you are a Ghanaian citizen, how does it affect you? You are supposed to declare your profits in your own country, and you need to declare now, when you declare your profits in your own country, your home country or the ACFTA region has to have a double taxation agreement with that country so that you don't end up paying taxes in both countries. For example, any American or any person doing business in the USA pays taxes in that jurisdiction. So in this side, you would have to make sure that even as much as you declare your profits here, you should also seek your country to have a double taxation agreement so that you don't end up having to have a double tax liability. But the goods do not attract any favor, as even if you're a citizen of the country. If you want your goods to have a favorable status of most favored nations, and you have to manufacture within the Africa Continental Free Trade Territory, meaning they can set up their factories either in any of the countries that are members of the ACFTA. Over to you, Sakina.
Okay. Kosyom, you sit as a trade facilitator at the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. What is the Chamber of Commerce doing when it comes to creating awareness and making the entrepreneurs and the SMEs ready for the Africa Continental Free Trade Area?
Well, we are doing a lot. We wish we had all the resources and time to actually do that, because with ACFTA, there's one aspect of capacity enhancement, and then there's the aspect of policy, then there's the aspect of monitoring and advocacy, and then there's the aspect of feedback, monitoring and feedback, and then, of course, fundraising. KCCI is currently being part of the discussions around the protocols for Africa Continental Free Trade Area in terms of investments, in terms of trade in goods and services, competition policy, and all around areas. So and even the rules of origin. So currently we are involved in all the policy discussions, and we are representing the interests of the private sector by looking into the areas of competitiveness for Kenya and what would be the best position. So we are heavily contributing to policy, and we thank the government because they have extensively involved the private sector in every step of the decision-making processes. Also, there's the part of policy monitoring and advocacy, and the Chambers of Commerce, through its development partners, consistently undertakes feedback surveys to establish the level of awareness and understanding of the ACFTA issues, especially on opportunities and challenges. And we recently launched a study on the same, in fact, on investment protocol, where there was finding that indeed there's awareness on what ACFTA is, but the country does not feel like the private sector in particular, does not feel like they have been facilitated enough or being empowered enough to trade within the region, because particularly of other issues such as dispute resolution, limited harmonization of institutional frameworks within the region. So we really still have a long way, particularly on now the issues such as harmonization of institutions such as revenue authorities, standards bodies, clearance bodies, and also dispute resolution, judicial systems. What is the process of dispute resolution and investment protection in all of those countries? So KNCCI we give feedback now to government. We also give to development partners so that when they structure their programs, they can tailor-make to ensure that they meet the needs of the private sector. And then we also hold a lot of capacity building programs on ACFTA. We have breakfast sessions, but we also partner, for example, with UNECA in mobilizing private sector to participate in training and capacity building programs on ACFTA. There's a lot being done on ACFTA, but again, it will take a while before actual tangible results is seen from the public.
So are there some of development partners that KNCCI is partnering with in creating this awareness? And if not, are you in the process of mapping out these development partners that can continue to enhance and create as much as awareness as it can be?
Yeah, there are already institutions that we are partnering with. One of the key agencies that are taking a lead on Africa Continental Free Trade is UNECA, United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. It's taken a leading role on the same. We also have the African Development Bank and the FCFTA Secretariat through the African Union. And we also have multilateral development partners such as UK Aid that has already announced a huge funding for investment protocol just recently. And then we also have other institutions such as USAID, and more partners are also expressing interest through, for example, Trademark East Africa is multi-funded organization from the Scandinavian, European, and American countries. So we have a lot of development partners who are funding ACFTA activities, either directly or indirectly. It's just a matter of us now finding areas to plug in to ensure we give our feedback in terms of where they are the quick wins areas and where are the areas that they should really be plugging into.
All right, talking of quick win areas, where can the women and young entrepreneurs, the youth, and the people living with disability, where are their quick wins when it comes to this Africa Continental Free Trade Area?
It is with cross-border trade in simple goods and in simplified goods and services. For example, trade in food products is an area that women are really plugged in. And we also see that opportunities for youth as well in tech items such as computers, phones, the household goods, because we believe that the space for digital advertising there's a lot of space for youth there. Remember now, you can sell your products across the region. If you are selling phones, you can, you're selling clothes, you're selling handbags, you're selling shoes, you're selling food products, or you're importing from any of those East African countries. The youth can actually take advantage of two things: logistics, that there's been improvement of logistics nowadays. Your stuff, you can order even an hair dryer from China and it reaches here. The same thing is what we want for the youth to start using here. You have a product that you've created, you can sell online, and there's effective methods of transportation to reach your clients, irrespective of which African country they're in. Also now, for women, there's a lot of opportunity in trade for food. Already we're importing a lot of food and cereals from Uganda and Tanzania. And also there's a lot of exports in terms of passion fruit to to Congo and Uganda, Tanzania, and Burundi and Cameroon, because for them, tea is not really a factor for breakfast, it's passion juice. And it is up to West Africa. So there's a lot of opportunity there for people to engage in trade for food products. And the regimes for those are actually highly simplified. They're not like for trade in value-added products. So that's the quick wins for both women and youth. But in each component, there's an aspect of technology, and also for example, digital advertising. And then there's also the aspect of technology in terms of payment systems. So the payment systems, and so the youth and the women have to be able to understand those things and how to use technology to advertise their products, and how to use technology for safe payment systems, because you don't want to send your goods to Congo only for you not to receive your payment. So how can you do it securely? So those are the things that now women and youth need to learn so that they can be able to tap into.
Thank you so much, Kostiom, for joining the discussion. You have very good insights, and I hope we'll catch up in another episode just to expand more on the African Continental Free Trade Area. And thank you very much. And to our viewers, thank you for always staying with us. As usual, you can contact us, engage us through our social media pages linked on the screen below. And see you next time, and thank you very much.